I watched championship wrestling from Florida on television as a kid during the 1960s. My dad took my brother and me to my first live NWA wrestling event in 1965. But it was when Dusty Rhodes made his famous face turn in 1974 and became the American Dream that I became a die-hard professional wrestling fan for life. My friends and I headed out to the Orlando Sports Stadium nearly every Monday night. Every so often, we'd venture over to St. Petersburg or Lakeland, but Orlando was our main venue. It was a great place and the perfect time to be a wrestling fan. Championship Wrestling from Florida had such an amazing depth of talent. They put on fantastic shows. As announcer Gordon Soley would say, certainly no question about that. So when I learned that many of the stars that I had watched as a kid so many years ago were going to be gathering in Tampa to raise money for a Championship Wrestling from Florida Wall of Fame, I had to be there. The event was expected to draw several hundred fans. It drew over 1,000. Those entering the facility were greeted by the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Inside, it was a CWF fan's dream. Everywhere I turned, there were great wrestlers for whom I had cheered or jeered. There was Danny Miller, who started wrestling in the 1950s and is a former Florida heavyweight champion. Buddy Colt, who was one of, if not the best heel or bad guy ever in championship wrestling from Florida until a plane crash tragically cut short his in-ring wrestling career. The crash took the life of wrestler Bobby Shane, but Colt continued working for CWF as Gordon Soley's color commentator. J.J. Dillon, the leader of the original Four Horsemen, may be best remembered as a manager, but he also had a nice run in Florida in the mid-70s as a wrestler, and what a personable guy. Cowboy Ron Bass was there, as was Bugsy McGraw, who had a couple of very successful long runs in Florida. Brian Blair won several titles in CWF before moving on to the WWF to become one of the Killer Bees tag team with Jim Brunzell. Blair became a county commissioner in Tampa. Steve Keirn may be best remembered by CWF fans as a tag team partner of the late, great Mike Graham. But Keirn also held many singles titles as well. Keirn had a nice wrestling career and is currently working as a trainer for NXT. Hector Guerrero, former Florida champ, the brother of Chavo and the late, great Eddie Guerrero. Luke Williams, one of the Bushwhackers and a recent inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame, was on hand, wild and crazy as ever. Tiger Conway Jr. I will never forget the feud he and his tag partner Rocky Johnson had against Harley Race and Roger Kirby. Sent the sports stadium crowd into a frenzy. Oh, did I mention Rocky Johnson? People today may know him best as the father of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. But Rocky Johnson was one of the most athletic wrestlers of his time. He fought for the NWA title several times, including one that I witnessed firsthand at the Orlando Sports Stadium against Terry Funk. Oh yes, it was a funking huge thrill to meet Terry Funk, one of wrestling's greatest all-time performers. Best match I ever saw was an I Quit match in Orlando, Terry Funk versus Dusty Rhodes, a 60-minute classic that ended with Bob Roop running into the ring, standing over the fallen Rhodes, grabbing the mic and telling the crowd, "I think the man's dead." Funk and Rhodes work some magic. Also, such a pleasure to meet Terry's brother, Dory Funk Jr., who was NWA heavyweight champion from 1969 to 1973, before losing it to his longtime rival, Jack Briscoe. Dory's matches with Briscoe featured some of the best scientific chain wrestling ever. The Funks had a memorable long-running feud with Jack and Jerry Briscoe in CWF. What most fans didn't realize, because these were the pre-internet days, was that in Texas, the Funks were the faces and the Briscoes were the heels, the complete opposite of what they saw in Florida, where the Briscoes were the fan favorites and the Funks were despised. Jack Briscoe, the longtime NWA champ who had many classic matches against Dory Funk Jr., passed away in 2010. But his younger brother Jerry Briscoe was at the event. Jerry held many titles in Florida and went to work for Vince McMahon in the WWE. And how ironic that Championship Wrestling from Florida's biggest star, Dusty Rhodes, passed away on the very day of this event. The American Dream was a truly great showman, and along with Ric Flair, maybe the sport's greatest talker ever. Flair, one of Rhodes' greatest rivals, was unable to attend Thursday night's event, but Championship Wrestling from Florida meant so much to the Nature Boy that he flew into Tampa on Friday to do a meet and greet with his fans, a wonderful gesture by the 16-time world champion. It was a fabulous event, organized by Jody Simon, better known as Joe Malenko, the son of CWF legend The Great Malenko, and the brother of superstar wrestler Dean Malenko. Dean still works with WWE and may have helped pull a few strings and bring in current superstars Kofi Kingston, who is very entertaining, and Roman Reigns, one of the biggest names in wrestling today. A quick story about Reigns. He is the favorite wrestler of my fiancée, Leonora. She was unable to attend with me, which was a huge shame because she's such a big fan, but I promised her I would get Reigns' autograph. Well, when I finally got a chance to chat with him, I had nothing on me for him to sign. This WWE superstar had already signed a ton of autographs, had posed for endless pictures on what had turned into a much, much longer than expected night for him. He had done it all with a smile, so when I asked if he could cut a quick promo for my fiancée, I wouldn't have blamed him at all if he had declined. Instead, this is what I got.
It's turned out to be a great day today. We're here for such a special event. It feels like family, and it's really bugging me that my number one fan, Leonora's not here. Where are you? It's a sad face.
Thank you so much, Roman Reigns. Class act. My fiancée was thrilled when she saw the video, and I'm now as big a fan of Reigns as I was of any of my CWF heroes. But Championship Wrestling from Florida will always hold a special place in my heart, and it was a real thrill to be able to relive some of those memories at this incredible event. Thanks to all of the CWF alumni who attended. I'm anxious to see the CWF Wall of Fame in the new Tampa Jewish Community Center and the rebuilt Fort Homer Hesterly Armory, which of course was Tampa's home of Championship Wrestling from Florida, kind of Tampa's version of the Orlando Sports Stadium, where I spent so many hours watching some of the world's greatest sports entertainers.